YouTube, Downtown Prepper here, and today I'll be giving a little review slash opinion on what I think are the two best weapons to have in a bug-in situation, a WROL situation, or a SHTF situation. The poop has hit the fan. Now, if you clicked on this video real quick, I want to make this comment. If you clicked on this video because you are thinking of purchasing either of these weapons, this being the Taurus PT92, the AFS model is the stainless steel model with the aluminum frame, or an AK-47 Madi, an AKM Egyptian Madi. We'll get into the specifics of that later. But if you're considering purchasing either of these two, pause the video, go out and buy them, and you'll be a happy person. Moving on to why I believe these are two of the best, if not the best, WROL, WROL, or poop has hit the fan situation weapons. Obviously, if you're trying to bug in or bug out, you're going to need some form of combat rifle. Something with high capacity magazine, whether it be AR-15 or M4 style assault rifle, combat rifle, hunting rifle, we'll get into that debate, or AK variant, or there's other options. SKS is using these 20-round adapter magazines. Something that will allow you to put some lead down the range and get out of trouble, basically. No matter what fantasy land you think you live in, you will never win with this against this. Never. Never. Firepower is just way too superior. I mean, that should be pretty obvious. Moving on. The reason why I decided to go with the AKM AK variant is very simple. And that's durability. Time tested. You can beat them up. You can kick them. You can bury them in the sand for 20 years. Dig it out and oil it, and they'll keep shooting. Now, obviously, if you keep any weapon properly maintained, it will fire and it will work. Buddy's M4 has never failed when I have seen him. When I first got this, it was dirty as heck and it was misfiring. Got it cleaned up. It looked like it had been thrown in the safe for about 5 years. Never been cleaned. Got it cleaned up, oiled, wiped down, and baby functions flawlessly. It's an awesome gun. Accurate, very accurate, even with the open sights. And like I said, reliable. Even when it was dirty as heck, all linked up, it wouldn't cycle, but it would still shoot around if you could cycle it through by hand. A lot of them would just go. A lot of rifles, if you get them gunked up, will go click and no boom, no matter what. Now, you might be thinking, well, you raved about a battle rifle. Why have a sidearm? They are a backup. They are a good. You should always have a backup, no matter what. This can jam, and you could be in a close quarter situation. You might need to turn to your sidearm. Why did I pick the Taurus? P2 AFS over, say, a Glock or a SIG? Well, there's several reasons, really. Several reasons. Really quickly, I'll give you a little background on the Taurus PT92. Basically, the Taurus factory bought a Berreta plant. Berreta started the factory in the early 70s in Brazil, and under the condition that it had to be manned by Brazilian workers. In the 80s, after the contract ran out, Taurus bought the factory and bought the rights to all the material, all the machinery, all the plans, drawings, and most importantly, the experienced workforce. And they started pumping out essentially what Berreta, the guns that Berreta were making under the name Taurus PT92. And they have the PT99 model as well. I believe the difference is the rear sights are adjustable on the PT99 model. The PT92 has fixed rear sights. Give you an idea of the dimensions real quick. It is overall 8.5 inches long, has a 5-inch barrel. It's 1.75 inches thick. It's an aluminum frame and a stainless steel barrel and slide. It's really a solid gun. When Taurus bought the company, they made a couple changes to the design, including you've seen no magazine, safe, no RAM. One of the great things about these guns is you can really, I don't have a snapcat, but when the round is in there, there's no way you can miss it. If you see a hole, there's nothing there. Anywho, one of the main features that Taurus changed is the slide-mounted safety. It also has a decocker. Now, you're supposed to carry one, supposedly, the chamber. It's racked, decock it, put it on safety, put it in your holster. The one thing I will say about this safety, and I don't know if it's my gun or all guns, but safety is pretty stiff to engage. But to take it off, man, it takes almost nothing. You brush it up against anything. It's popping off. The good thing, though, is it's pretty hard to engage. So if you did decide to carry this in the long double action pull, that's a pretty good safety. It's pretty stiff. Really not going anywhere. Put that back up there. Gun weighs 34 ounces unloaded, which is heavy. It's a pretty heavy gun, so it's definitely not a conceal and carry, but with that 5-inch barrel, it's decently accurate. It's pretty accurate. Pretty freaking accurate, even though it has those fixed sights. Give you an idea with the magazines, it came with, when I bought this gun, bought it used, came with this 15-round magazine. And I think these are the original factory 15-round magazines. And the gun is a little bit older, if you can tell. The newer models have the rail system here, the Picatinny rail, I believe it's pronounced, system. So when the gun first came out, it was an excellent gun, but there was some complaints about the magazines, about them being dented, some not being consistent. There was a lot of complaints about can't really tell how many rounds you have. You can tell that you have 15 if they're in there. The newer magazines, and this is an aftermarket one. This is a Mag Gear. I'll give you there. These magazines have the round count, which is pretty accurate. It's an 18 round magazine. One thing to note is that this is a 15 round magazine. This is an 18 round magazine. Try to line them up for you. They're pretty close. Now, I'm not going to unload the mags, but pop the safety on. So I'll give you an idea of how they sit. Pop this one out and pop in the Mag Gear. You can tell definitely pops down a little bit, but the only thing that actually protrudes is the plastic magazine cap. One thing to note. Now, put this back on safe. And obviously, the AK-47 has been cleared. So we're good there, no magazine. Put that back on safe. Sorry, AKM. Still getting used to calling them AKMs. I've recently found out the difference, which I will share with you. Basically, most people call weapons like and variants that look like this AK-47s. But there's a difference between an AK-47 and an AKM. The most notable difference is AKMs have a stamped receiver. AK-47s have a milled receiver. And there's other things such as the cover on the AK-47s are thicker. They're twice as thick. I believe they're a millimeter thick. On the AKM, it's half a millimeter. But they retain the strength by putting the ribs on the AKM. You notice the AK-47 will not have those. Not have the ribs. A couple other differences, such as I believe the AKM has something called a fire pin retarder, and the AK-47 didn't have. There's a couple little differences, but basically the big one is that AKM stamped, AK-47 milled. So this is a Maadi AKM. Got that out of the way. One important thing to note is that the AKMs are a lot lighter. They're a full kilogram lighter than an AK-47. So that's something to consider. But if you get a hold of an original AK-47 for under $1,000, buy it. Definitely buy it, because they are rare and they're worth thousands and thousands of dollars. Moving on. One thing to note, one of the main reasons that I got this Madi is that the Egyptian Madis, similar to the Taurus, where they were Taurus are a copy of obviously the Berreta, but they were made on Berreta Berreta machines and Berreta parts, Berreta trained workers. Likewise, the Madi was built on Russian tooling with Russian trained workers, and I mean, it's the closest copy of a Russian AKM that you can get. It's what they say, and they are reliable. Like I said, it's shot I mean, once I got it cleaned up, it has not failed me. I've shot it a lot. Definitely ran it through its trials. Forgot to show you real quick. Recently I had, these are the 10 round Ramline magazines. And the reason I bought these, they're the cheaper magazines. I bought these because I found them online, super cheap. I ended up getting them for, I believe they were about $5 a magazine. Because they were $5 because I bought 10 of them. And they're great because they were so cheap that I can just practice shooting, dropping them. I don't care if they hit the ground. I can keep my high capacity magazines healthy, clean. I have shot these. I still do shoot these. Again, this is the Mac gear. I'm not sure if I showed you the front of it, but it says Mac gear design, MFG, made in Italy. I picked these up on Cheaper Than Dirt. I know a lot of people are going to talk crap about Cheaper Than Dirt, but at the time they did have the best prices on those. One thing to note, the Ramline magazines are cheaper because, I mean, they feel cheaper. The metal feels just a little thinner. They don't have the round counter. You can tell the metal is almost, I don't know if you can tell, but it just doesn't look that high quality. It does have holes on the side, so I guess if you use these a while, you could tell how many rounds by looking at it. One thing to note is that these Mac gear in the original magazine have the, when you slide these into the gun, this is what catches and holds the magazine on the gun. They have 2 of them, one on each side. These cheaper mags only have 1. One thing to consider. So you're definitely getting what you pay for there. But these have shot fine so far. No jams or anything. Which leads me to my next point, is that this gun is notorious for just being able to put any type of ammo through it. It doesn't matter what kind. I mean, cheap stuff, good stuff. I have never, ever had a fail with this gun. Never. I have shot, not thousands, but in the high hundreds of rounds, definitely. Most definitely. I shot a few of these in the first couple weeks that I've had it, and I've had it for about a year now. And you got to take your gun out, you got to practice as much as you can, and I've tried at least. Never had a problem with it. Again, look up on forums. I mean, if you're watching this video because you can't decide whether or not you want to buy this one, and you're wanting to buy it online, stop this video and go buy it right now, because you'll regret not buying it. I mean, obviously, you don't buy it, you won't know what it's like, but really, it's a great gun for the price. I mean, I got this gun online and got a killer deal on it. I traded up. I traded from a high point to a star. I believe, I don't know, I've traded so many guns now that I kind of lost track of which ones I trade for. But one thing I'm going to note, I've noted in my past videos, if you're going to trade guns, do it legally. Always trade legally. Always have a ID show to you to show their legal age, show their even legal residence. That's huge. You can't sell guns out of state. Also, make sure they sign a bill of sale. Say I traded this gun for that gun. Well, say I was the owner of this Madi. Owner of Egyptian Madi, serial number blank, is trading Joe Schmo for Taurus, serial number blank, date blank, and you have to hold on to that. And it's different depending on where you are, but I believe in Indiana it's 10 years. But again, don't quote me on that. Check your laws. Always check your laws. Never quote anyone. Last thing you want to do is get in trouble and be like, well, Downtown Prepper told me. Because who the hell am I? Alright. Moving on. In a roll, poop hits the fan situation. People are going to ask and comment, what about a shotgun? Well, if you have the money, get a shotgun too. Honestly, for home defense, it's a toss-up whether I'd have my Moss or this for self-defense. I mean, for home protection. One thing I'm going to note, shotguns are not point and shoot. They're definitely not it. The spread across the room, the average living room, would probably be no bigger than yay big. Inches. I mean, inches. I'm probably, I guess not even, it'd be like shooting a slug, essentially. Even shooting birdshot would be like shooting a slug. The only difference is that if you shoot one of these slugs, it's probably not stopping anytime soon if you miss. It's huge. I'm not sure on the exact dimensions, but I believe something like a 50 caliber slug. Crazy. Crazy. That's why a lot of people decide to go with the AR style rifle or a AK-47 with hollow points, because if they hit a wall, they're gonna break apart. I have a video on ballistics on 7.62 by 39 hollow points, and they break apart. And honestly, the AR for home protection is probably not a horrible idea. It breaks apart as soon as it hits pretty much anything. Devastating round to the 223. But another thing to consider is that a lot of times you can get spam cans of this 7.62 cheap. Very cheap. Very cheap. Ammo is another big thing. Why did I decide to go with the 9mm and the 7.62 by 39? Great question. Modern 9mm ammo has the expansion capabilities to compete with something like a 40 caliber. I mean, I did a ballistics test on the 9mm, and it mushroomed. I mean, it completely folded out with a water ballistics test. If you go to my channel, you can check that out. But so they're an effective round. Another huge reason, they're cheap, super cheap, and mainly they're available, readily available. Likewise for both of them. I would love to have a 308 to throw some serious fire downrange, but those rounds are expensive and a lot of times hard to find. So again, if you're considering getting either one of these, stop, go get them. For sure. For sure, for sure. I had discussed this in the bug out video, materials and supplies to put in your bug out bag. I have that up on my channel as well, but one of the other reasons I love this weapon is, fold this up, quickly, compact. I mean, look at my new pistol. Not really. But mainly, if you were bugging out, getting that folding stock makes it very easy for you to conceal that weapon and not stand out like a sore thumb. Unlike getting something like they're reliable weapons, but getting something like a Mosin Nagant. It's a huge rifle. It's a big, long rifle. Obviously, SKSs, they're long rifles. You're going to stand out if you bug out with one of those. So, just another thing to consider. But for the price, there is no way you can go wrong with either of these guns. They're reliable, they'll always work, and you'll get your money's worth. Well, this has been Downtown Prepper. Thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe and like.